What is the meaning of life? A 56-year-old retired woman says, "We live for these few things, especially the first one." Today, I want to share with you a thought about life. Is it long or short? In some ways, it's neither too long nor too short. Each of us is like a fleeting guest, passing through life. No matter what kind of life we've had, the things of the past will eventually fade away, just as they came. Everything will dissipate. In the vastness of the universe, when we arrive on this earth, we are unprepared, and when we leave, we take nothing with us. We come and go quickly, following the natural course of birth, aging, sickness, and death. To the immense universe, we are but a tiny grain of sand in the great sea. When we retire, we often reflect on the meaning of our lives. Some say it's to endure hardships in this world, others say it's to extend the family line, and some believe we are here to find peace. Lu Yong once said, "Life is like this, one chance, one lifetime. You can choose to live it actively or face it calmly. When you can't let go, think about it to find peace. When you're feeling down, think about it to lift yourself up. When you're angry, think about it to calm your temper. When you're dissatisfied, think about it to develop gratitude. Because no matter what, you're fortunate to have this life, and it's a life that should not be wasted." Someone once described Lu Yong as someone who lives life seriously, always striving to improve himself. In fact, the purpose of life is to surpass oneself, to live authentically, just as Guo Gang often says, "Do good deeds and never ask about the future." At 56, Miss Fan said that as a woman, life is all about a few important things. First, you must learn to love yourself. Many women, in their daily lives, prioritize taking care of others, whether it's their children, partners, or relatives. Over time, they may feel frustrated because they give and give without receiving enough in return. But the ultimate way for women to live is to take care of themselves first, so that they can have the strength and love to care for others. We come to this world to experience the joy of love, the beauty of marriage, and the true essence of life. When we were young, we often thought we lived for others, to gain their approval and recognition. But as we grow older, we realize that true happiness comes from living for ourselves, from embracing the life we desire. It's not about pleasing others, but about living a fulfilling and authentic life. Miss Fan, now 56 years old and retired for 6 years, shares her story. In the past, she always centered her life around her son and husband. Anything her son wanted, she tried her best to fulfill. When her son grew up and started working, she then focused on her husband. However, she found that the more she tried to please him, the less he appreciated it. He even spoke to her in a dismissive tone. Over time, Miss Fan realized that if a woman doesn't love herself, no one else will care about her feelings. Once she shifted her focus back to herself, she started taking care of herself and pursuing the things she enjoyed. She no longer centered her life around her husband. To her surprise, her husband's attitude toward her changed. He no longer belittled her and, in fact, when she achieved something in the areas she loved, he proudly boasted about her to others. It seemed like she had brought him honor, and he felt a sense of pride. Miss Fan says, as women, once we reach a certain age, we realize that in the end, we live for ourselves. The hustle and bustle outside is about other people's lives. Inner peace is the truest form of living. A woman who loves herself is capable of loving others. For the dream of poetry in the distant places, do you remember the viral resignation letter by Teacher Goof from years ago? The famous words, "The world is so big, and I want to see it," captivated many people with admiration for his courage and determination. Everyone has dreams of poetry in distant places, but very few actually make them a reality. The various constraints in life often mean that these dreams remain only in our thoughts. When we retire, we may think it's time to pursue those dreams, but grandchildren often tie us down, and the practicalities of daily life get in the way. When we were young, we dreamed of reading 10,000 books and traveling 10,000 miles. We thought we had all the time in the world, that our remaining years were ours to spend on achieving these dreams. But once we reach retirement, we realized that the time may not be as abundant as we thought. Miss Fan, at 56, still has her husband working, so whenever she wants to travel, she has to first prepare everything for him, dumplings with various fillings, clothes for him, all neatly packed in the fridge. She spends hours ensuring everything is just right, but when he starts complaining that his life is not being treated properly, she feels a mix of frustration and resignation. Over the past few years, due to the pandemic, Miss Fan hasn't traveled much. However, she has still found her own sense of poetry and distant places in life. Her days are structured. She wakes up early for physical exercise, prepares a nourishing breakfast for her husband, and then, after he leaves for work, she dedicates her mornings to learning, reading, and writing. She has even embraced the world of online content creation, having spent 3 years studying media writing. Though she hasn't published much yet, her online presence is thriving. The interaction with her fans brings her joy and fulfillment, and through it, she experiences the beauty of life's poetry and distant places. Miss Fan shares that her fans, even though they have never met in person, share a deep connection. Together, they encourage each other, discuss retirement life, Taiji culture, and their love for books. Despite the challenges of menopause, they celebrate life and its little rituals together. This, she says, is what living for the dreams of poetry and distant places truly means. In the end, life is about experiencing the joy of seeing your children grow, being grateful for your parents, and finding peace at home. As Wang Xingqi wrote, when the family is together, with the lights on, it's warm and comforting. There is a home to return to, and someone is waiting for you, with a lamp lit to keep watch. The seemingly ordinary days are, in fact, the most irreplaceable happiness. Whenever we are tired from life's burdens, the first thought that comes to mind is, I want to go home. Home is the harbor of our lives, the place where our body and soul find rest. It's where we were born and where we raise our children. Life, brief as it is, becomes a great fortune when we treat our parents well, nurture our children, and live in harmony with our family. Living each day with fullness, joy, and gratitude is the greatest blessing. Lin Yutang once said, happiness is really just about 4 things: sleeping in your own bed, eating food cooked by your parents, chatting with your partner about the everyday, and playing games with your children. Life is about cherishing the kindness of those who raised us, accompanying our children as they grow, being the best child in our parents' eyes, and the best parent in our children's eyes. When our children say we are the people they admire most, we know our efforts have been worthwhile. In this brief life, living well for ourselves, creating meaning in our existence, and savoring the true essence of life, this is the real richness we seek. As Wang Xiaobo once said, when people are young, they may feel that within a year, their lives will settle into a certain rhythm. But when retirement hits, it's a whole different kind of balance that we must adjust to. When you retire, the challenges of work are behind you, and the years ahead stretch out. What you do with them is up to you. Many people think retirement will be full of excitement, but after 6 months, they realize the reality isn't always as thrilling as expected. It's vital to plan for this stage of life, explore hobbies, create routines, and stay engaged in what brings you joy, so you can make the most of your retirement years. This is the time to truly enjoy life and live without regrets.